26 is called Father and Son. Meanwhile, Encanto the Enchanter, this is nearly the end by the way, was pacing the great hall, distraught with fear, for though he had sent out search party after search party looking for Zar, the boy had not yet been found. The day before, when Encanto the Enchanter and his wizards burst into Zar's room, they found it empty in a great hall in the middle of it. And as Encanto knelt down by the side of the hole and saw the dead witch lying at the bottom, and his son vanished, well, what have I done? The Enchanter asked himself, imagining for one terrible moment that the witch might have killed his son, before realising, to his infinite relief, that no, quite incredibly, it was the other way around. Luther peered over his father's shoulder and turned a little white. What is that, father? That, said Encanto grimly, was a witch. By mistletoe and leaf mould and the ginger sideburns of the great grim ogre, witches weren't extinct after all. Proof was right there in the middle of Zar's bedroom. It took a while for the wizards, crowding into the wrecked ruins of the room, to take this all in. You see, said Violanta triumphantly, but even when something really dreadful has happened, there is always a satisfaction in being right all along. I told you that the boy would do something truly appalling in time, and he has. Witches are not extinct, and after hundreds of years of peace, Zar has brought a witch right here into Wizard's camp. It was somehow typical that it would be Zar who found one. How could Zar have killed this witch? Asked the Enchanter with a sort of reluctant admiration. Witches are virtually impossible to kill. Well, admitted Luther slowly, he did cheat in that spelling competition by bringing in this whopping great big iron sword thingy that he said he had stolen from the warriors. Was it a sword of power? Asked the Enchanter. It looked pretty ancient, said Luther, and I think he did mention something about it being a witch-killing sword. But you know what Zar's like. He lies his head off all the time. Why didn't you tell me about that? Raged the Enchanter, turning on Luther as the lightning of his fury crackled round the devastation of Zar's room. So now, 24 hours later, the Enchanter was pacing up, down, hoping against all hope that Zar might yet be found. Luther was not particularly enjoying how distressed everybody seemed to be at the loss of Zar. Even Ranta was sighing and saying things like he was a good boy, really. Lively, of course, mischievous, but he meant well. This is all Zar's fault, said Luther sulkily. He brought the witch here. It serves him right. But the Enchanter was blaming himself. What did the boy say to me just before I banished him to his room, thought Encanto. You do not care about me. You only want a son who is magic. Encanto wanted to be able to tell his son that that was not true, but it was too late. His son was not there. Encanto had been up all night in the form of a peregrine falcon and had flown low over the treetops, mile after weary mile, searching for his son Zar. But Zar was an expert at covering his tracks, so even the bright red eyes of the falcon, peering deep down into the leafy blackness, could spot no sign of the face, however hard they looked. Encanto consulted his star map, so scorchingly long that his eye beams burned holes in them. But Zar was hidden in a fort of iron, so, peer how the Enchanter may, there was no sign of the boy there either. It was as if he had vanished off the face of the earth. And then the Enchanter began to think the unthinkable. Nobody knew much about witches. What if, just before it died, the witch had dispatched the boy and made Zar's corpse disappear in some manner unknown to the Enchanter? The Enchanter had sent Zar to his room to teach him a lesson, but as so often seems to happen, the lesson being taught was to the Enchanter himself. I wish I'd never shouted at the boy. I wish I'd listened to him, not threatened to expel him. I wish he may not have died without knowing that I love him, thought Encanto the great Enchanter. Even a very great Enchanter cannot turn back time. There was a shout at the doorway. The pacing Enchanter turned eagerly. It was him! It was Zar! There he was, climbing off Night-Eye, his snowcat, looking a little guilty, a little unsure of his acceptance, but still as cheeky and irrepressible and full of himself as ever. Maybe even more so. All powerful enchanters are at heart still parents like the rest of us. Encanto the great Enchanter ran to his son on trembling legs, and with pathetic eagerness and relief, he scooped Zar up in his arms. That's so nice. We'll have the rest of the chapter tomorrow.